out and thumbs up. Hey, did you guys see the cool artwork at the beginning of the show? That was the artwork of Baroness Kolobaz. If you missed that and just tuning in, after this video post, go see it. She did beautiful artwork. Love you, Baroness. Thank you so much. You're awesome. There's Stardust C. Hello, Mazzy. Good to see you. Welcome. It's so good to have you guys here. I thought I saw Scott. Is he still here? Scott from North Carolina, or South Carolina, excuse me. There he is. Hey, Scott. And look, there's Denise Welch. Hello, Denise. Good to see you. Well, welcome to our show tonight. So good to have you guys here. Yes, there's Scott. All right. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here, And, it's Wiccan Wednesdays. I have to put on my witch gear. I'm in the flow of power. Whoo, show me the hour. I'm telling you. Anyways, I'll show you a piece of jewelry I thought I lost. I just found it. Oops, it just came open. This is that's not a new pin, it's an old pin. It's a little silver locket, and it opens up. It's magical. It's got a pentagram on the front, and you can put little charm in that. You can make a little magical sigil or a little charm prayer, or put some herbs in it, and then you just seal it up. Isn't that cool? The only thing I don't like about this locket is that it's hard to open. So it took me like a half hour to open it. It's just has a tiny little clasp on it, but it just jams up. So anyways, let's see if we click it close. Woo, there it is. Magic is sealed in. Anyways, I thought you guys would like to see that. I'm always into my witch jewelry. And lockets are a great way, just do a little spell, just you could write a little prayer, like an invocation, or draw a sacred sigil, seal it in a locket, and wear it all day. That's how I wear mine all day, So anyway, it's just something for you to think about, a little magical mojo knowledge there, Hey, there's Angela Prayer Poems. Good to see you. Welcome to our show tonight. By the way, I forgot to send it out today. PsychicBob's been so busy. By the way, first of all, let me say thank you to all of you who came out to our recent shows. Monday, we did astrology. Yesterday, we did messages from the spirit world. Had a great turn. Thank you to all the people who came out to that show. Today is Wiccan Wednesday. Now, if you're enjoying being with Psychic Bob and learning things, you can take your learning to another level, because this Saturday, I'm teaching psychic development class. This Saturday, we're doing a special class on working with the third eye. What is the third eye? I want to teach you the history of the third eye, different cultures, interpretations, how to actually use your third eye. It does more than just give you dreams. Third eye can be used as an actual tool in many ways in your life. So if you're interested in learning about the mystical third eye, come join us on Saturday. Our class is from 12 p.m. till 2 p.m. It's a private class held on Zoom. And you can register for that over at my website at PsychicBob.com. You can also buy readings over there, compact voice readings. So, visit my website, PsychicBob.com. Cola will put it in the chat, and, you can be part of our scene. People say, what's the third eye? Okay, have you ever seen a statue for a Buddha or a Hindu god? A lot of times they have a little dot here on their forehead. That's the third eye area. And that's an energy, it's a psychic energy center called the Ajna Chakra. And from that opens up a whole level of psychic gifts, visions, and ability to use it for different things. So if you're interested in that, come join us on Saturday. The class price is only $30, and it's 2 hours. It's from 12 p.m. Eastern USA time to 2 p.m. Now listen, you're not going to get psychic training at that rate from anybody, and at least not at my level. I've been doing psychic work over 30 years. I'm known as one of the top psychics in the country. I've been a consultant to law enforcement. I've been a consultant to heads of state. I've been on television. All the major networks have covered me. I've been on radio show. A lot of you were with me last year when I was on Coast to Coast AM. So Psychic Bob has been all over the world. I'm even known in London. The London Daily Star's interviewed me a few times. So hey to anybody in London Star watching. It's a big newspaper in Britain. So Psychic Bob all over the world. Now you can have private training from me every Saturday if you want. So this Saturday we're teaching a third eye. I hope you'll come join us. Okay. Love to have you. Go to the website. You'll see it over there. Just go to the services and you can scroll down, read about it. Okay. So I hope to see you guys over at my website. Register early because I fill up. There's only 30 spots. So yeah, hope to see you there. Thank you for listening to that announcement. I'm feeling it today, you know. Anyway, speaking of feeling it, as I said, I've been reading the Witch's Almanac, you know, and just want to give you guys some interesting magical witchy updates. Those of you who are interested in Wicca. So yesterday, Tuesday, was the full moon. We had our full moon in the sign of Virgo. Virgo. All right. We talked about that on Monday. But today, you know, we're still the full moon. By the way, the Wiccan faith says that the full moon lasts 3 days. And basically, it's the day before. So the 6th, Monday, March 6th, was the full moon. Tuesday, March 7th, was the official full moon. And then the day after, which is today, Wednesday, it's full moon. And, you know, if you're wondering about working with that full moon energy, it's a great time to use it to cleanse yourself, to re-bless your altar. And they have a wonderful spell in here on charging tools. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about charging your hammer and your drill for your house repair. Of course, I suppose you could do that, actually. But what they're talking about is magical tools, Wiccan magical tools. Anybody here know what the 4 tools of Wicca are? There are 4 main tools. Anybody want to guess what they are? All right. Angela, prayer poems. You look like you know something. What are the 4 magical tools of Wicca? Can you tell me? Angela, prayer poems? Oh, Baroness jumped in. She said the athame. Okay, there's one, the athame. Anybody want to take a guess? Angela, you going to give it a go? There are 4 tools there are actually many tools in Wicca, but the 4 basic tools that every witch has. All right, one's the athame. Yeah, reading with ghosts is the wand. That's right. So the athame, the wand. All right, Stardust C says the wand. That's right. All right, Baroness says the chalice. That's right. So we got 3. We got the wand, the athame, the chalice, and there's one more. Stardust C says the cauldron. Nah, not the cauldron. Though that's a tool. That's not one of the main tools. You got it. Wait a second. Angela Prayer Poem says all them, wand, chalice, and the practitioner. Atam, wand, chalice, the practitioner. Well, the practitioner is definitely part of it, but I hadn't thought of that one. But the 4 altar tools, practitioner should be at the altar. That's a good guess. The pentacle. Baroness said the candle and the pentacle. Candle is not actually considered the main tool. When witches are starting out on the craft, their teacher encourages them to collect the 4 main tools. Athame. Okay, thank you, Angela Purpose. She said athame when I was trying to spell. At him a wand chalice. I think there was a typo. That's all right. Athame, that's right. So we've got the athame, which is the ritual knife. It's a black-handled knife traditionally. We have the wand, which many of you have seen. We're going to talk a little bit about the wand in just a bit here. And then you got the chalice, which is the drinking cup, and the pentacle. All right. Now, the pentacle is not just a jewelry you wear. Like this has a pentacle on it, okay, this pendant. But there's an altar pentacle, and it's usually a disc, a round disc. It can be a plate. It can be made of wood. In the old Wiccan days, it was made of wax because if somebody, like from the Inquisition, broke into your house, you could throw the pentacle in the fire and it would dissolve. There'd be no evidence of you being a witch. Scott brought up the issue, the cords. That's right, the magical cords for working magic. That's right. Yes, Baroness brought up another one. What about the white athame bobs, if you're a witch? Yes, we actually call that the boline. That's the technical witch term. There's actually 2 knives traditionally on the altar. There's the black-handled knife, which is the athame, which is used to cast the circle and do ritual magic. And then there's the boline, which is used for practical cutting, like to cut herbs, to cut string, to cut cords. The black-handled knife, the athame, traditionally is never used to cut. In fact, many people have the blade on their Athame doll, so they never actually cut anything with it. It's used to cut energy, cuts doorways in the circle, though. But for physical cutting of material items, the white-handled knife, sometimes called the boline. Some bolines are shaped like a crescent moon, which I've seen. Sorry about that. So yes, Baroness, you're right. Baroness said, what about the crystal ball? Yeah, and what about tarot? So do you like stuff says tarot? That's right. These are all other tools, but the 4, like if you have nothing else as a witch, traditionally you're supposed to have the 4 tools: the chalice, the pentacle, the wand, and the athame. If you have those 4 tools, your altar is considered complete. Now, all the other stuff, the crystal balls, the cords, the candles, the tarot, those are accoutrements, which are wonderful. I support them. And you can have as much as you want on your altar, or as little. I was reading a book today about Wicca, and it was talking about how to set a minimalist altar. It's like 2 candles, in your spell kit, and that's it, You can make it as fancy as you want or as simple. Now, I'm working on my temple room. Hopefully next week, I was hoping this week to be able to broadcast, but I haven't got the lighting sorted in there yet. But hopefully next week I can give you at least a partial tour of my altar, my new altar room, temple room. So we'll look for that, okay? But while we're at the full moon, there's a wonderful spell I wanted to read to you guys here about charging altar tools, because we're at the full moon. It's a great time to do this, So those of you who have magical tools, like I have a crystal ball that needs to be checked, my new crystal. So I think tonight, late tonight, after everything settles down outside, I'm going to go outside and consecrate this crystal ball. All right. Baroness says, what about statues of whoever you want to connect with? Angela Bob, she has a fab altar. I saw it. That's cool. Yes, absolutely. You can consecrate anything, altar statues tonight too. Wait till you see my Lord and Lady statue. I had this one area. We had to move storage boxes today. So I moved storage boxes. I put my statues in the temple room today. I have life-size Lord and Lady statues. They're like real people. They're really cool. Wait till you see them, okay? Cole is helping me make some clothes for them. All right, so I want to read this, and we'll keep talking about this. Angela says, oh, I'd love to see. Next week, I'll show you guys the Lord and the Lady. I think that area is going to be ready by then. Okay. My room, just so you know, my temple room is literally undergoing renovation. I had it as a storage area. Now everything's going out of it, trying to clean it. It's just a lot of work, but it's going to be amazing when it's done. It's going to be the most magical room. I bet you I'll have the most magical room on YouTube, And I have a 4-foot scrying mirror in there. It's pretty cool. Black mirror. The magic mirrors of black mirrors. I have one. It's literally the side, like the zodiac wheel. That's how big my scrying mirror is. Isn't that cool? And I have a giant crystal ball. It's a 12-inch crystal as well. You can see I ain't got some witch mojo going on in there, because I do. And then when you see the Lord and the Lady, Baroness says, he's got his lady statue looking like me, LOL. It kind of does, actually. That's the funny part. The statue of the goddess actually kind of looks like Baroness. I was like, wow, it's kind of wild. It's got legs exactly like her. Cola says, both me and Bob could scry in it together. She's talking about my big black mirror. You see how big that zodiac wheel is behind me? That's how, literally, that's the size of my scrying mirror. I had to get a special cap. I put it on top of a piece of furniture. There's a bookcase. I found a low bookcase, and it's strong enough to hold it up, because it's too heavy to hang on the wall, so I have it propped up. It's amazing. Wait till you see it. All right, so let's talk about this, okay? So this is a time to charge tools spell taken from Llewellyn's Witch's Spell a Day Almanac, okay? All right. And it says, take this opportunity at the full moon to charge your tools. candles, crystals, and other magical items. Find a spot in your home where the moon will shine in for at least 1 hour. If no window ledge is wide enough, set up a table. If an item is flat, like your athame, let it bathe in the moonlight for a while and then flip it over. You may also want to charge some organic matter for use in spells, such as spices, herbs, or a jar of water. That's really good. I didn't think about moon water. That's what we need. We charge moon water. Okay. Ground and center. Then call upon the elements and the directions as you charge your items. Then chant. Okay, so you got all your items out on your table with the window, with the moon coming in. Okay. All right, you got me? All right, you guys go. Now, if you live in a house where you have privacy, you could actually go outside and do this in your backyard under the moonlight. Some of you live in areas where you can do that. Where I live, I don't have a backyard, but I have a park. I'm going to go to the park tonight. I think that's what I'm going to do. Go to the park and do my crystal charging, you know. Okay, so you lay everything out, okay? You ground and center, and then you see the moon coming in. You chant the following, okay? Lady of the moon, look down upon these items. Cleanse them of spells and infuse them with clean energy for use in future incantations. And it says, in your honor. Oh, use them. Hold on, let me read that again. I'm having trouble reading because the font is tiny. Lady of the moon, look down upon these items. Cleanse them of past spells and infuse them with clean energy for use in future incantations in your honor. Isn't that beautiful? So it's a really simple. So this is what I love about this book. It allows you to do a little magic every day, 365 days. So this was actually from yesterday, the full moon. But because we're in full moon still, we can use this even tonight. So remember, the full moon is the day before the moon, the day of the moon, the day after the moon. So tonight is the third night. It's the last night of the full moon. So any of you missed the full moon, thought, oh, I forgot, or I've been busy, go out tonight and just charge some eyes. Maybe just take your wand out or your athame. You know, you can even charge your hat. Maybe you have a witch hat, you know. I think I'll wear my witch hat outside. I wonder what the neighbors would think, huh? If I go out there with my witch attire on, charging stuff. I think they're kind of used to me around this neighborhood. You know. So do you like stuff? Says you can truly feel the difference when items are charged in the sun and moon. I have 2 protection necklaces that feel so heavy, but when I charge them, they feel great. Isn't that true? There is real power in Wicca. People say, well, I want to learn the Wiccan mysteries. And I said, the Wiccan mysteries are actually available to all of us. You know, like this little spell, very simple, but it will connect you to that lunar energy, that goddess energy. And it's very purifying, especially at the full moon right now, you know. There's Jana Mosby. Hi, Jana. Good to see you. Welcome. Glad you're here tonight. You know. Robin Bossa says, dangle out your window by, oh my Lord. And this, you 14, 15, how high? 16 stories high. Lord have mercy. I don't think I'd drop it. But, you know, I have a wonderful park where I go. And it's funny, we're not supposed to be in the park, but I sometimes drift in, do a little magic. I don't bother nobody. So I think tonight it's going to be a park night for Psychic Bob. So this spell is taken from the Witch's Spell-a-Day Almanacs by Llewellyn Publishers. You always know Llewellyn because on the edge of their books there, they put a little, see that little moon? That's the moon. That's how you know it's a Llewellyn. I just love Llewellyn Publishers, you know. Reading with Ghosts says, where I live, it was a clear sky and I was able to stargaze and thank the moon. Ah, that's beautiful. How lucky you are. I don't know what it's like outside today, so I got to go check it out, you know. It was clear earlier, but I don't know if it's still clear, you know. Angela Prayer, but hey, there's North Star. Hey, North Star, good to see you. Welcome. Angela Prayer Poem says, I got a rose quartz wand on the way. I love rose quartz. I charge it with music and meditation, keep it out in the sun. Can I still charge it in moonlight if the sky is overcast? Yes, you can charge anything, even if you can't see the moon. The moon's energy is still radiating to the earth. So, yes, you can still charge stuff, even if you're in an area where it's cloudy. Now, it's really nice to have the moon, but the intent in the moon is still present. Just because we have a temporary cloud does not mean the moon's energy is not bathing the earth, which it is. Robin Boston says, my son Rick always put his crystals in moonlight. Ooh, I love that. That's wonderful. You see? Oh, Baroness said, I got a selenite wand for £8 on eBay. Ooh, that's very nice. I love that. Hi, Leo Murray. Leo Murray says, curl hat. I got on my witch gear tonight, Leo, because I'm in the witch mode. I am actually a Wiccan. Welcome to Wiccan Wednesday. All right. Baroness says, never put a crystal ball on your windowsill. Yes, don't put that in daytime. At night you can do it to charge it, but never leave a crystal ball in a window. One, the heat can shatter it, but two, the sun can focus through it and burn your house down. Literally, I know people it's happened to. Traditionally, you're supposed to cover a crystal when you're not reading it, and I do that. I have velvet, black velvet. You don't have to go buy black velvet. Any cloth will work, but it's traditional to use black velvet to protect crystals. And I actually do that. Yeah. Yeah, Baroness is right. Says, because if you forget about it, it'll burn your house down. So yeah, so anybody's charging your crystal ball tonight, please don't leave it there overnight because the morning sun could literally cause it to burn your house down. Okay. Baroness says, cover it with silk or velvet. Yeah, I have velvet cloths. I also have silk too. I actually have both. I usually just use black velvet. So do you like stuff? Says, oh my, you never think of that for a crystal ball. Good to know. Yeah, I actually knew somebody's house caught on fire and they were a practitioner and their crystal ball, like, because the rays come through it, it focuses like a magnifying glass and it can burn the sun's rays right through your house. Burn your carpet or your furniture or the window, wherever it's sitting. It can focus the light and burn it. So please, please be careful. If you charge any crystal, like particularly crystal balls, because they're so clear, they really focus the light, they magnetize the light, or magnify. Excuse me. Please do not leave it overnight. According to the spell book, it says just do it for an hour of moonlight, then get it out of the windowsill. All right. And if you're saying, well, it's not in the seal, it's on a table, those sun rays can come in. If it's anywhere in the vicinity of sunlight coming in, it will burn your house down. My poor brother in New Mexico, I sent him a crystal ball. And one day he was confused. He said, oh, I'm going to charge it to my window all day. Leave it there. I said, no. Now, first of all, the crystal ball is traditionally associated with the moon. It's considered a lunar energy. So crystal ball is best to charge with moonlight. That's just my belief. Now, you may see it differently. You may have a crystal that you like solar energy and you can charge it in the sun. But traditionally speaking, crystal balls are done at night in moonlight. And that's what I intend to do because in fact, I'll show you the crystal I'm going to charge tonight. Some of you have seen it's hard to see on camera, but I have the most beautiful little pink. It's a very soft champagne pink crystal ball. And tonight, this is my newest. I just got it last week. So I'm going to charge that tonight under the moonlight. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, also, while I'm here, I wanted to talk to you guys about another tool that some of you have asked about and may have been curious about. This is another tool of the Wicca that you don't hear as much about. It's called the stang. The stang is a staff traditionally carried by the high priest, but the high priestess can carry it as well. But this staff is used to represent the horned god. It represents his two horns, his antlers. It's shaped like a Y. The best stayings are just found in nature. This I literally found walking through the woods one day. And I didn't have to cut it or trim it or anything. I literally just found it. I said, oh, this is my staying. So I've got it. And the wonderful thing about the staying is if you have a devotion to the horned god, you should definitely get one of these staffs. Now, I know everybody has different deities they worship, and I'm not saying everybody has to have one. But if you love the horned god like I do, I love Pan and I love the Green Man. The Green Man's often shown with horns as well. He's considered the horned lord can take the form of the Green Man. You might want to get a staying. Try to find one. Call one to you. The funny thing is, if you try to find a staying, you'll never find one. But it's like once you see, what you want to do is set the intent, say, horn God, if you want me to have your symbol in my life, then help me find it. Just put that out to the universe and then forget about it. And that's how I did. I looked and looked and looked for a staying. And then another witch said to me, Bob, you've got to put that out there and forget about it. So I said, you're right. So I did an invocation to Pan and the Green Man. And I said, if you want me to have a staying, then you have to bring it because I can't find one. And literally walking in the woods one day, boom, it was literally right there, was leaned up against a tree even, like it was just waiting for me. So I took it and I've had it ever since. The wonderful thing about the stang is it can be a staff. This one's a kind of a between those. This is more of a wand. It's not all the way down to the floor. But you can use the stang as a wand in your spell work to invoke the horned god. Or you can also use it if you're doing an outdoor meeting or let's say you're out camping and you don't have like stuff to set up an altar area. The stang can be the altar. What you do is you plant it in the ground and then you can decorate. You can tie ribbons around it or leaves or just leave it plain. But traditionally when it's used as an altar piece to represent the presence of divinity, they decorate. People tie threads around it or little feathers on it or, any sort of decorative stuff. And then they plant it outside and it represents sacred space, you see. Baroness says, oh, it's the poke your eyes out staying weapon. No, you don't want to poke anybody's eyes out with it. Scott from South Carolina says, I've always liked crystal pyramids. Pyramid power. Yay. I can only find little ones. Yeah, pyramids could be a whole show in itself. Yeah, I believe in pyramids too. You see these ancient pagan cultures, they knew stuff. They really did. So do you like stuff? Says, I have a bunch of these in my front yard from when the branches broke due to the harsh winter. Haha. Well, listen, go out and pick yourself up a staying while you got a chance. Now, what I would recommend if you find one lying on the ground, by the way, let me just say, some Wiccan books, and even Scott Cunningham, who I love and adore, I disagree with him on this one point. He says, bring your bowline and cut a branch from the tree, make an offering for its sacrifice. I find where I live so many down branches that I don't have to injure a tree. I don't have to go cut anything. So look for downed ones first before you decide to do that, okay? Now, once you get your staying, especially if it's off the ground, it may be a little damp. I would take it home and just prop it up against the corner of a wall and just let it dry out for a few weeks because then it will get more solid. When it's damp, it can mildew, and so you want to dry it out. If you got a hair dryer, because when I got one of my wands, it was damp from laying in mud. I washed it off, and then I used a hair dryer just to dry it off and let it sit for a week or two. So you might want to let your staying sit. I was so excited to find this. I really felt like it was a sign from the gods. And so I got my staying. But this can be a staff, like a walking staff, or you can, if you have to, let's say you have a gnarled bottom, you can just trim it off and use a short one as a wand as well for invocations as prayers. And if you're traveling, let's say you're going somewhere and you got a bag, you can get a little one as well and just keep it in your bag so you don't have to carry a big staff, Well, so do you like stuff? You need to go find one. Yeah, I think that's exciting. Angela Prayer Poem says, I have a favorite tree I gave a name to. She gives me branches a lot. I walk I walk cups of water to her as thanks. That's beautiful. See, this is why I don't think we should cut trees if we don't have to. Sometimes it can't be avoided, but a lot of them will just give us stuff, and we honor the tree. And I think, Angela, you're right to do. I think you're right to do that. I really do. Baroness says, use the stang as a wand or a weapon. Either way, it's a protection. It is protection because you can raise it to call the Horned Lord. Absolutely. Reading with Ghosts says, if you can't charge or cleanse your tools, is it wise to replace them? That would get very expensive. The witches of old usually had one set of tools. And when you practice Wicca, you have to spend time to collect your tools. So it's not something you just can't. You don't just go get a wand or a chalice and then a week later get a new one. You will have to at some point charge them. But there are many ways to charge. You don't have to do it like this ritual, but there are a lot of ways. And if you live at a home, particularly, I know a lot of people write me, they live in an environment where they can't openly practice Wicca. Like right now, for example, Baroness is in the middle of moving and her stuff is packed up. So she can't get everything out because she's going to be moving. So she does her rituals with imagining her tools. And eventually the tools will come back into her light. So if you don't have a wand or stang, call the power into your body and use your body. Visualize as you do your spells. You have a wand. Visualize your athame. Create your altar and your tools. You can do them without actually having to have physical stuff. The physical things are nice. They help you. But you can do magic even without them. So don't buy stuff and throw it away reading with this. Get something and then hold on to it. And again, if you're in an environment, you don't have to have physical displays. Another thing is, if you want to look up, I did a video like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, called the Nanta bag, Nanta. I'll put it in the chat. You can look up on my channel, search for it, Nanta bag. Nanta bag is where you buy miniature copies of tools. Like, I have a little miniature chalice in it, and I have a little miniature athame. It's like that's a little charms versions of the tools, the 4 tools, the chalice, the wand, the pinnacle, the athame. And you carry them in a little bag, and you can carry them in your pocket. So if you're traveling, you can't bring your altars, you can pack a little Nanta bag and then set it out on your table or wherever you're staying at night, and then do your ritual using the miniature items and then put them away in a little bag. Nanta bag is a wonderful thing. I may have to redo a video on that, And Baroness says, any tools that don't feel right, don't use them. Instead, just bury them in soil. That's one way to cleanse them, to bury them. Yes. Also, there's, you don't actually have to use every Wiccan tool. Like for me, I do have an athame, but I prefer the wand. I just feel more in harmony because I live near woods and I'm connected to the green man. Wands just feel more magical to me than athames. But when I first started out in the craft 20 some years ago, I loved athames more than wands. I didn't see the point of wand, but as you grow in your craft, you'll be drawn to some tools more than other. And one of the things is, I'd say, don't just buy a tool just to have a tool. Wait until you feel a connection to your tool. So I went a long time without a pentacle because I just didn't see any that spoke to me and I wasn't feeling it. And then, like after a year of being into Wicca, I found a pinnacle for my altar. I still have that pinnacle 25 years later. So, sometimes it takes a while to get the right tool. Don't just buy something just to have it. Wait until you connect with the tool, Reading with Ghosts says, yes, I had to hide my stuff when neighbors visit. I live in a small community. I understand that. There's a lot of people who write to me who can't openly be Wiccan. I'm lucky in that I've kind of come out of the broom closet. All my neighbors know I'm a witch, and they're cool with it, and I walk around openly wearing witch stuff and pinnacles, and they see me out in the park sometimes doing rituals. They think it's cool. So I'm lucky like that, but not everybody's in that environment. I mean, I have had some harassment from people in my neighborhood who have seen me in public and criticized me. They're like, Why are you wearing that devil's sign? You know, and I have to explain them what the pentacle means. It's not a sign of the devil. It's a blessed, sacred sign. And I always say to like the devout Christians, I said, why do you wear a cross? Well, it represents my Lord and Savior. I said, wonderful. My pinnacle represents my goddess and my God. So, you know, sometimes you have to be in that awkward position. I think it really depends on where you live. So do you like, so don't put your, reading with ghosts, excuse me. So reading with ghosts, don't put yourself in danger, because there are Wiccans I've known who decide to try to be open and their landlord evicted them for it. They're like, well, we ain't having none of that witchcraft in my apartment, and they lost their home. Now, is that legal? No, but it happens. It still happens to this day. So, you know, so do you like stuff? Says, I love miniatures. Yes, research the Nanta bag, reading with ghosts, and so do you like stuff. I did a video, and you will find, called Nanta bag, Nanta, Nanta bag. I think you'll get it. You'll like it. It's one of the earlier videos I did on YouTube, and it got quite a few views. So I think it's one of my more popular videos. Mm-hmm. There's Magical Mermaid. Hello, Magical Mermaid. Welcome to our show tonight. We're just talking about the stang, and we're talking about altar tools and cleansing them because we're at the full moon. So I'm glad you're here with us. Scott from South Carolina says, how do you remove attachments to items? Cleansing them. Cleansing will do everything. It's interesting because Wicca doesn't require long, complex formulae to be able to purify stuff. A little incense, a little sunlight or moonlight, you're good to go. Depending on the item, you can bury it in soil if you want to, or salt. I have some crystals that are very strong that I'll bury them in salt for like an hour, and that's, you know, like literally get a cereal bowl, put your crystal and fill it with salt. Not every crystal, some crystals you can do this with, and just bury for an hour and take it out. I wouldn't recommend you put any jewelry or metal items in salt. Like, I'm not going to put my silver jewelry in salt because that'll corrode it. Wash it. Run it through cold water. And as you run, like, for example, jewelry, run it through cold water. Visualize the white light of spirit moving through the water. Remember, in Wicca, intent is everything. So the water will be infused with that light if you intend it to be there, and it'll purify your items. And you just put them in the window or the moonlight, sunlight, whatever you work with for that item. Doesn't have to be complex. You know, there's something I always say, the KISS method. KISS. What's that? Keep it simple, special one. The actual term is keep it simple, stupid, but I don't like to call people stupid. I don't think that's right. So I say keep it simple, and the last S, special one. All right, special one's 2 words, but we just make it 1 word. Keep it simple, special one. All right. So just, Scott, remember that attachments can be cleansed through the elements. Wicca believes that the power of the 4 elements, well, 5 elements, earth, air, fire, water, and then spirit's the 5th element. So depending on what your item is, you may be drawn to one of the elements. Like sometimes I'll pass charms through fire. I'll have like a cauldron flame, and I'll pass the item through the flame to purify. That's one way to break attachments. Fire always breaks spirit attachments. That's why, like, people in many countries like India are cremated, because they believe that the cremation and the burning of the body frees the attachment of the spirit so it can go on. You know, and we can do that in Wicca. We can burn fires, a candle or a cauldron, and pass your item through the flame. Now, don't set it on fire. All you have to do is let it just touch the flame. Like if I can even purify this book, right? So I have a flame, I can pass it through that. As long as I don't like sit there and hold it on the flame, just pass it through. That will purify. And I always say incense is a great purifier. So incense, you can sprinkle with holy water. Again, be careful depending on the item. You know, so think of the elements. Earth could be purifying by salt. Air could be incense. Fire could be a candle flame. And earth, air, fire, and then water could be literally using water. So you can use the 4 elements, and that will purify and break attachments. Good question, Scott. Now, Baroness disagrees with me, and that's all right, because in the craft we have different views. Not everybody has to agree. Baroness says, not, it doesn't, Bob. Not all the time if a dark witch has used it. All right, that's your view, and maybe it would require something a little higher than a cleansing, but I've just never encountered that. I've always found that I'm able to cleanse and charge stuff that way. That's just me. Maybe you have a different experience, Magical Mermaid says, have you ever used Lenormand cards? Lovely to know that about fire. Never knew that. Yeah. That is a French deck, actually. I haven't used that deck, but I have seen it. It's a lot of people love the deck. The artwork is really nice on it. And it is a traditional deck that was used for divination with the tarot. So nothing wrong with that deck. Good deck. All right. It's a good deck. Mm-hmm. Baroness, hold on, just lost the chat. Baroness says, there's ancient Egyptian tools. The energies are so strong, cleansing doesn't work. Now, Baroness, the average person that doing Wicca doesn't have ancient Egyptian tools. So that may be true. I just don't have anything like that. And I think most people starting out in the craft, we're going to, I tell people again, KISS method, keep it simple, special one. Instead of spending $1 million for a wand. Now, I think we should support the artisans of the craft who make tools. So I do encourage you to go to your local witch store and buy stuff from the witches, especially if they're real Wiccan practitioners. But if you can't do that, like where I live, there's no witch stores. If you can't buy it online or whatever, hold on a second, I got emergency text coming, so what's going on? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Just clients. I have client readings all night tonight. But what I was saying is that, keep it simple. For your wand, if you can't go buy one, go to the woods. Let nature give you your tools. That's what the old witches did. And when we talk about the chalice, you don't have to go out and buy a sterling silver chalice from Tiffany's. They have them, though. I've looked at them. But you don't have to spend that money. I don't spend that money. Go to thrift stores. Wonderful place to source tools. Go Goodwill, Salvation Army in the U.S. or Oxfam in Britain. You can buy beautiful old like pewter or silver plate chalices there. I would avoid direct brass chalices because brass can be toxic if with certain liquids. But go to charity shops and like used goods shops. You can buy your tools there. They don't have to be brand new. As for like your pentacle, you can make one yourself. Take a plate and put the pentacle on it. Hold on just a second. Yep. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that, be creative with your craft because witchcraft is a craft. All right. We craft our tools. We craft creativity. So look, I've got a stang. Now I could go online to an occult store and buy a stang, and I've actually seen some beautiful stangs. So no knocking. I'm not knocking the people who make them and sell them because I might buy one yet. But I needed one at the time, and I just didn't have access to anybody selling them at the time. And look, I prayed to the green man, and a stang came to me. So you see, the gods will help you to get your tools as well if you have a little, faith and work with them, Reading with Ghosts says, I find that taking a ritual bath before practicing is really helpful. Doesn't cost much. Absolutely. That's a wonderful way to get ready for ritual. You know, I think it's a perfect way. Baroness Kolba says, Dead Sea Salt bath. I agree. Yeah, Dead Sea Salt's a great bath. There's intense energies in that. But again, if you don't have the money for Dead Sea Salt, you can go to the dollar store and buy salt to put in your bath, you know. Magical Mermaid says, yes, let nature bring it to you, then decorate it and make it your own. I think that's so important, you know. There was another video I did a few years ago, which was popular, called the Psychic Bob Makes a Woodland Pentacle. And I literally went out to the woods and I gathered sticks and measured them about the same size. And then I did knot work, spell magic, cord magic to tie them together in the shape of a pinnacle. And it made a beautiful decoration for my temple room. Unfortunately, Psychic Bob's a klutz. Last year I was moving stuff and I tripped and I fell and I stepped on it. I was moving it out of the area and I dropped it and I tripped and stepped and I cracked it. But it served me for many years. And I should make another one. But you can make your own wall decorations, you know. I know people on Etsy, they do wood burning. And they do wood burning plaques of pentacles and rune signs. You know, so be creative. That's the wonderful thing. And I think when you see my Wiccan temple room, and I'm going to try to show you some of it next week, you'll understand what I mean by the creative process. You know, because when you have fun with your magic, it brings it to life, you know. This staying, as I said, cost me nothing. But I love it. I treasure it as much as if I'd spent $100 on it, you know. So it didn't cost me anything, but some time, you know. Cola says wood burning kits are cheap too, around 30 pounds. Yeah, that's true. You know, so think about, you know, your tools. Think about, you know, what you want. And if you already have tools, tonight's the night of the full moon still. So you can go out and charge those again and be blessed by it, you know. This full moon is interesting because it's crossing between two signs. So like yesterday, we were in the sign of Virgo. Oh, wait, yeah. And today we're still full moon. We're in the sign of Libra. So that shift in energies, we moved into air sign energy. This is a great time to communicate with your deities because Libra opens communications, you see. So, you know, a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to work out. And if you have time tonight, you might want to just go out into the night if you can do it safely and explore the magic of the full moon, you know. Scott from South Carolina says, after showering, I wipe all the water off with my hands with the intention of wiping away all the negative energy. That's really great, Scott. It's a good way to do it. Yes, absolutely. It's a ritual purification. Mm-hmm. You know, if you need to cleanse something, another technique that you can use is, I call it the candle, the circle of white light. And what you do is you take your tool and you buy white candles, at least 4 of them, so they surround the item, you know, place them around it. You can do as many as you want, but at least 4 candles, white candles. And you put your item in the middle of the 4 white candles and you light the candles and you do an invocation of the divine white light to infuse power into the item to cleanse it. That's another way you can do it. And I've done that as well. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, yeah, all sort of ways to bring a little magic into your life. And if you're watching this tonight and you're saying, I don't know about this witchcraft, you guys, aren't you evil? No, I practice Wicca, which is a religion of white magic. And Wicca, I can't explain the whole religion in 5 minutes, but it's a religion that promotes harmony with the earth, harmony within yourself, harmony with the deities. It's actually a very loving faith, a very positive faith. Wicca changed my life. As many of you know, I'm a spiritualist and I'm also a Wiccan. I practice both faiths. But Wicca gave me an understanding of the bigger world, and it connected me to the beauty of that world. It helped teach me that I have all the power within myself because we are truly connected to deity, you know. And in Wicca, you don't find a harsh or judgmental God. You find loving deities, Mother, Father, God, the Lord and the Lady. It's a beautiful faith. I would recommend anybody, to do some reading on Wicca. Hold on a second. I'm going to get a book to show you here. Let me just go grab it. Some of you have seen this, but it's worth seeing again. All right. So if you're just new to this and don't know anything about Wicca, this is my favorite book. This is the first book I ever read. I still read it because it's like one of these books I'm always learning, even 20 years later. Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. I'm not being endorsed by Scott Cunningham's estate or Llewellyn. Again, this is a Llewellyn publication. You see the little moon there? All right, that's the moon. That's always on all their books, so you know you got a Llewellyn publication. This book will give you a really great grounding in the religion of Wicca. Then another book I highly, highly recommend, which you want to actually start practicing magic in a fuller way. There's actually spells and Book of Shadows in this to get you started, but this is also a great book by Scott Cunningham, the same author, called Earth Power. And it's Techniques of Natural Magic, teaches you rituals and spells. Wonderful. We are going to start doing magic on Wiccan Wednesday once I'm settled in my temple room, because I have altars and tools and everything in there to do stuff. So I'll actually be able to walk you through spells in the coming weeks. It's not far away. We're almost there. Okay, so if you've been wanting to learn some magical Wiccan techniques, I will be doing that at my channel. So that's going to be part of Wiccan Wednesday, So absolutely, And this is another book. I don't know if this one's still in print. This is an older book. It's just called The Illustrated Guide to Wicca, and it's by Tony and Eileen Christ. Really great book. It's a thin book, but boy, it packs a lot of information. Shows you how to wear robes, how to cast circles, tells you the history of the craft, talks about all the tools for the altar. There's the chords, Scott, for you. The magic chords are not magic, and initiations. Talks about initiation, use of the pentagrams. Shows you how to set up a basic altar, It's a great book. Oh, look at this, Baroness. I don't know if I showed you this. Any of you recognize that picture at the bottom? Baroness, I know, knows what this is. That's the Glastonbury tour. I did a video when I was in England a few weeks ago. I actually went there. So if you haven't seen that, check out my video. It's in my video section. Psychic Bob goes to Glastonbury tour. So that's a sacred place as well. But I recommend any of these books to get you going. And then if you find that you're really jiving with Wicca, you might want to get also the Witch's Spell a Day Almanac, and it gives a little magic spell you can do every day. And it tells about, it doesn't just give the spells, it gives you all the moon phases for the day, when the moon's transitioning out, the astrology stuff. It tells you what magic is done and which moon phases do what. It's just a great resource, So anyways, just some things for you to think about, okay? Anyways, guys, listen, I've got to wrap it up because I've got to go to a reading. But I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out. I hope you've had fun tonight. I had fun, you know. So do you like stuff? Says, I love the seance sessions. Oh, thank you. Blessings. Well, speaking of seance, tomorrow's Thursday. We will have the seance on Thursday. So I hope you'll join us for that same time, 7 p.m. Be here. And we're going to make it happen, you know. So yeah. Ron Mussa says Glastonbury. Yeah, that was a Glastonbury tour. I went there. Magical Mermaid sent me beautiful clovers and a fairy and a rainbow. Thank you. That's sweet. Blessings to you. You're welcome. So do you, Alexis? Thank you, Bob. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Well, guys, listen, I hope that you've had fun tonight. As I said, I'm off to a reading now. But I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Someday we'll have a longer chat when I'm less busy. Right now, I'm really in crunch mode. If you've been calling to get on my schedule for a reading, please be patient. I have a backlog. I'm getting through them as quickly as I can to get people on the schedule. Thank you for your patience. All right. So you guys are rocking it. Scott says, I like it when Psychic Bob buys $10 hot dogs. Oh, Scott, those hot dogs were more than $10. Those were actually, each hot dog, I think, was close to $15 to $20 just for the hot dogs and with the drinks. So it all came to like $60 that day in London for 2 hot dogs and 2 hot chocolates. It's about 40 pounds, which is close to $60. Never again. I learned my lesson. Anyways, you guys are the best. Listen, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I hope you'll check out these resources. And maybe tonight you can go out and go under the mystical moon. Anyways, put in the comments below if you're going to go see the moon tonight. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you can go out and do the moon, or maybe you're going to do something magical. I'd love to hear about it if you want to talk about it. You don't have to tell all the details. Just say, I'm doing something magical. All right. You guys are the best. I love you. Thanks for being here. Listen, keep it here at Spirit Channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new here. We'd love you to be part of us. We have something 7 days a week we broadcast. And tomorrow is going to be our spiritualist seance. We're going to gather and we're going to open the door to the spirit world. If you like seances, come join us tomorrow. It's always interesting. We never know what's going to happen, but it's always interesting. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for the seance. And don't forget to visit my website, PsychicBob.com, and register for the psychic development class. I love you guys. We'll see you then. Blessed be.